Hello everyone, this is Ehsan Jahani, EJ. I'm a licensed architect from Ontario Association of the Architects, and welcome to my channel, Dexarchy. First of all, if you're watching this video, possibly you are thinking of coming to Canada, or you're actually here in Ontario and looking for a kind of basically roadmap for yourself. And in addition to that, possibly you have families and you came with your kids, many of you with the parents. So you are actually somehow maybe struggling, maybe financially. Recently, there has been a lot of requests about the BCIN, and I have received plenty of emails on my mailbox regarding the BCIN. People are basically having a kind of general questions about the BCIN. That what's the difference between the BCIN with the other designation things such as OAA, OREDO, professional engineer, PE, Eng, and many other designations that we have in our construction and architectural industry as a professional designations. So I thought maybe responding to individual emails, it's going to be very lengthy and actually it's going to be time consuming. So I thought maybe having a recorded video like this, it's actually going to help everyone, so I can put it on YouTube channel and you guys can actually watch it. My objective is actually to make you fully aware of all of these things somehow so that you can make a best decision that you want. And you really want to know what's the shortest way to integrate into the architectural and construction markets. So thinking ahead of the time, it's actually can save a lot of time and can save a lot of cost for you. And I definitely know that many of you having a lot of responsibility so that you don't have time to go to the colleges, you don't have time to go to the universities, you don't have time to spend a lot to go through each of these paths, right? And you are looking for a very quick and very fast way to integrate it into the architectural and construction market. The good thing about BCIN is that it's actually a stage for you to build up your reputations and build up your career down here. Because you need to know about legality of the construction market. You need to know about the codes that we are using. You need to know about the culture of the place down here. So BCIN pretty much is the starting point. It's actually a kind of warm up for you as a professional. If you want to be an OA or if you want to be an OREDO or PNG, pretty much BCIN is a kind of warm up. In my case, when I was in pretty much the middle of my OA pathway, I became a BCIN, and BCIN has actually helped me a lot to have a clear knowledge of what's going on in our market. So for me to make your job easy to understand the difference between all of these designations, I thought maybe I can pick some of them, the ones which are very popular in our province, and actually compare them with the BCIN to see that why BCIN is pretty much one of the quickest and fastest way to integrate it into the architectural and construction market here in Ontario. So I picked OAA because I myself an OAA licensed architect and I've been through these paths for the past 7 years and I'm pretty much very familiar with all of these steps. And of course, at the same time, I'm picking BCIN to compare that with the OAA because BCIN is actually another path that I have actually get into and became a BCIN license as well. And in addition to these two, I want to add OREDO because I had experience of teaching basically interior design in many colleges across the Ontario. So I thought maybe based on the experience I have, I can actually compare these three together somehow in a very quick, short video so that you can understand why the BCIN is the fastest route. First of all, we have the OAA, which is the Ontario Association of the Architects. We have the OREDO, which is the same professional associations for the interior designers. And we have the BCIN, which is the license that will be given by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. And then let's go over the categories that I'm going to compare these three designations with each other. And at the end, you will see that why BCIN, it's pretty much a fastest and quickest way in order to integrate into the architecture and construction market. So let's have these three designations listed down here: OAA, OREDO, BCIN. Let's have those 5 categories that I wanted to actually compare these 3 designations with each other. Number 1 is educations. Number 2, it's experiences. Number 3, it's the professional exam. Number 4, it's the years of experience you need to have. And number 5, it's the continuing education category that I want to compare these 3 to each other. So let's start from the OAA. If you want to be a licensed architect, you need to have a professional degree from an accredited, basically university, whether a bachelor's degree or a master's degree that is accredited by the CACB, Canadian Architectural Certification Board. And that's the only body in Ontario which recognizes the architectural degrees. So let's go to the OREDO, interior designers. Same for the interior designers. If you want to basically be a registered interior designer in Ontario, you need to have a degree from a recognized university and a recognized college which have the degree accredited by the CEDA. You don't have these requirements if you want to get the BCIN. So you can be from any discipline which does not have anything to do with construction architecture. You might be a lawyer, you might be a teacher, whatever disciplines you come from, you can directly go and apply for the BCIN. There is no requirements for the educational background of the BCIN. So let's go to the second category, experiences. If you want to be a licensed architect, in addition to that degree, which is the educational requirements, you need to have 3,720 hours of work experience in Canada. 900 of that should be in Ontario for over a project that is actually under construction or is going to be constructed in Ontario. So there are some local requirements for that. So for the El Rito, you need 3,520, pretty much a lengthy time. What about the BCIN? As you can see, you don't need any work experience for the BCIN. Let's go to the other category, the third category, exam. In addition to the educations and experience, after all, you need to pass a very tough exam if you want to be a licensed architect. You need to pass the HVAC, which is the examination in Canada, or ARE, which is the American version. So one of these exams actually need to be passed in order for you to go to the next step. I just want to talk about the HVAC a little bit down here. HVAC is a professional confidential exam, and nobody is allowed to talk about the details of and questions of this exam. Even nobody are not allowed to actually teach in exams. So if a licensed architect wants to enroll into teaching the HVAC, 5 years should be passing from the time that that person became licensed and passed the exam. So for the interior designers, there's also a tough exam called NCIDQ, pretty much a very tough exam. It's a very challenging exam that it'll need to be passed in order to be a licensed interior designer. When it comes to the BCIN, pretty much you only will need to do the BCIN exam, which is the Ontario Building Code related exam. Let's go to the years of experience. Pretty much after the educations, experiences, and the exam, don't forget that it might take about 7 to 8 years, even more, to actually become a licensed architect. Also for the Orido, it's pretty much about 5 to 7 years. But when it comes to the BCIN, maximum based on the experience we have in the Dexarchy with our candidate, it will be taking pretty much from 4 to maximum 6 months to comply with the requirements of the BCIN exam. Let's go to the last category, which is the continuing education. So continuing education means you need to actually make yourself updated and be active in the architectural and construction market. So as a licensed architect, you need to have about 70 hours of continuing education every 2 years. As a licensed interior designers, you need to have about 12 hours of these continuing education. And when it comes to the BCIN, there is no continuing education. Pretty much I can tell people to start with the BCIN just to learn the building code, to learn the architectural and construction market, and down the road they will actually apply for the OAA or Orido, or they became also professional engineers. Of course, you need to be careful that those other two, OAA and Orido, are lengthy programs, whereas the BCIN is actually not really a lengthy program. So now here is the questions. What you can do with the BCIN. Here is the questions that many people ask me about the BCIN. What we can do with the BCIN. Let me mention to you that BCIN is a license, or better to say, it's the number. That's why it's standing for the Building Code Identification Number. So BCIN is a license, a number that will be given to you by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. That means you will be allowed to actually work as an independent designer. You will be able to work in towns and municipality in capacity of examiner and inspector. You will be able to actually work for any engineering, construction, and architectural company with the BCIN number. And also you can actually form a partnership with other professional and creative group to start stamping projects. Of course, BCIN has different categories. There are 16 categories under the BCIN, which is related to the disciplines that have a kind of contact or connections to the building industry. There are some legal categories. There are some architectural, like house, small buildings, large building, and complex building categories. There are some mechanical categories. There are some actually sprinkler, fire safety structures, and so on and so forth. As I said, there are 16 categories that I'll be able to list them down here for you very quickly. so that you can see them and see which one is actually the best for you. For those of you who are graduated from the architectures or who are graduated from the interior design and also constructions, you might consider enrolling in the house category and in the small building category at first, rather than entering to the legal. Basically, you need 2 of these exams to be licensed BCIN. One of the legals with one of these categories that I'm mentioning to you. My recommendation, it's better to enroll into the house or a small building first, because it's not as hard as the legal. And if you just came to Canada recently and just starting studying a legal document, that might be a little bit boring for you, and that might be actually overwhelming, and you might really, simply speaking, be hate of the architectural and construction market. So that's why I always recommend everyone to enter into the house or a small building. Even a small building, it's actually a best option. Why? Because it covered the house, but house does not cover the small building. That's why this relationship exists. I can talk about it in other videos if you're interested. Same relationship exists between the complex and large buildings. Complex building cover large building, and large building does not cover the complex building. So there are a lot of relationship between all of these categories of the BCIN, so that we can talk about them later on in other videos. Leave me a comment below this video for any of these items that you have. And I do my best to respond to you as long as it is actually related to my level of knowledge and expertise. If not, I can definitely invite other people from other disciplines related to the architectural and construction market, so that you guys can have a better understanding of what are the differences of BCIN with the other professionals. So thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know if you want to know more about a detail of some of these items. Don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channels or other social media like Instagram. I'll come back with more video. Thank you for watching.